Hey, I'm Wiley. I wanted to be thoughtful with my words, so I'm reading from my phone as I record this. Trigger warning, I'm talking about sexual assault. I'm a librarian in information science, PhD candidate studying race, digital studies, and intersectionality. I study Black trans men's digital information practices. In layman's terms, how people find, connect, consume, share, and participate with information across platforms. This morning, I saw a post online where someone shared that they were preparing to speak publicly about their sexual assault, including naming people, because they didn't want to carry the burden anymore. I don't know this person, but I was deeply saddened because they and so many others have experienced harm that should have never happened. I also have to confess I am not a licensed therapist or clinical psychologist, and I'm not trained to hold clinical trauma narratives. But a shout out of support to my therapist friends from the Wells group and outside of it. And I will always say that the time I spent on the therapist couch saved my life. But I digress. That post stayed with me. And you might be saying, well, why did it stay with you? I'm so glad you asked. And it's not because people shouldn't talk about harm. They should. But because I started thinking about the spaces where we place pain and traumatic experiences. I keep coming back to this thought that there's a difference between processing trauma and broadcasting trauma. And the internet often treats that as those are the same thing. And as amazing as the internet is, it doesn't contain, it doesn't follow up, it doesn't protect, contextualize, or close the loop. It circulates. And I know that there's irony in that because I just told you an area in my field is digital studies. I study the internet and specifically people on the internet, their patterns and their user behaviors. And here I am telling you that the internet doesn't contain. I know, the irony. But I got questions. More than one thing can be true at the same time, and those things do not have to be mutually exclusive. And I wonder what happens, though, when we're asked to process trauma in spaces that are not designed for care, while it is simultaneously true that caring people, supportive comments, supportive resources can and do exist online. I can still be uncertain because everyone's healing looks different. What people need looks different. And I'm not judging. And I'm not trying to be shady about this either. It's just something I've been thinking about as someone who studies the internet, about care and healing and what the internet can and cannot hold. I got questions. I'm just concerned. And it's true that they're caring people, supportive comments, and resources. In my own dissertation, I write about this nonprofit organization and how the experience of being online with them every Sunday was very impactful to my life. And also it made me curious about studying Black trans men's information practices online, while also realizing that, yes, while it's true, as I stated, that caring people, supportive comments, and resources can and do exist online, so does hate, so does vitriol, so does criticism, so does mocking, so does shaming, so does so many negative and dark things happen as well. More than one thing can be true at the same time, but those things do not have to be mutually exclusive. And I don't have an answer or a solution for that. I was just thinking about the post and just wondering and wanting people to be careful, wanting people to be safe, wanting people to find and have all of the support that they need, whatever that looks like for them. You get to choose, you get to decide, and hoping that there are people there to hold this person or any person that experiences anything, be it trauma or joy. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Wiley. You be safe out here. Know that I love you. I care about you, and you'll never change it. Have a good one. Peace.